Live from Chicago, it's Chris Sells His Soul. I'm your host, Chris Bogue, and this is my weekly show on LinkedIn Live where I help you work more creatively. I sometimes have a guest. I actually have been taking a break from guests for a little bit because it's a little exhausting. But I'm going to do an episode here today solo. So today I'm going to be giving you a little bit of insight as to how I write comedy. We're going to be deconstructing some of my most well-performing sketches from LinkedIn and TikTok. And this is a live event. So if you're here at home following along today, please jump into the chat. It is literally the only way I know if anybody showed up to this thing. So jump in the chat, say hi, let me know if you have any questions. But today we're all going to be looking at a character that has been really crucial to the success of my business. And just as a reminder, if anybody is unfamiliar with me, my name is Chris Bogue. I create content specifically on LinkedIn and TikTok. And this show is called Chris Sells His Soul. So you can find me on TikTok at Chris Sells His Soul. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Sells Soul. But the best way to follow my content is ring my bell. Go on LinkedIn. I'm a content creator. There should be a bell icon by my name. If you click that, you can make sure that you get updates whenever I have new material. So we're going to get this started today, and we're going to talk all about my character, the boss. So I'll just jump right into it. We're going to do this just like how we did it last week. First, we're going to watch one of my sketches full through, and then we're going to go through it again, but we're going to stop it and we're going to break down what's happening and how I wrote it that way. So let's start with the boss's first appearance. So you can actually see here. So this is a still from a recent episode with the boss. I didn't know as much about color correction. You could even see this one from last summer where the boss first showed up. Not as colorful, but let's go ahead and if you have any problems with the sound, let me know, but you should be able to hear this, and let's go. Let's do it. Sell me this pen right here. You think you could sell anything? Show me how it's done. Sell you this pen, huh? Why don't you do me a favor? Write your name down on this Post-it for me. It. You've seen The Wolf of Wall Street already. Boss, can I ask you a question? When was the last time you bought a pen? No idea. Well, where'd you get these two from? My assistant buys them in bulk, Bo. Where are you going with this? Respectfully, I can't help but notice you already own two of the same pen, which leads me to wonder, what were you hoping to get out of talking with me today? You're out of line, Bo. No, you're out of line. This whole thought experiment is out of line. I would never sell you a pen that I wouldn't use myself. Ever see one of these babies? Ooh, Mr. Fancy Pen. Pilot V5, the only pen I use. Do me a favor. Write your name down on a Post-it for me. Ooh, $1. It's a little steep. The price is the price. $1. Take it or leave it. All right, you got a deal. You're a hell of a salesman, Bogue. But I always wish you were just a little bit better. Thanks for the feedback, boss. Okay. So, this was the first time I ever really threw myself into character work. So, let me just stop the screen for a minute. Okay, so that sketch that you just watched completely changed the trajectory of my business. I quit my last job because I was a sales rep who discovered I was really good on video. And I thought the best way to do that was to get on LinkedIn and start doing thought leadership content about how to make video. However, I saw the Wolf of Wall Street sell me this pen challenge, and I wanted to try it for myself. I always hated this challenge. I always thought it was stupid. And I wanted to do a video where I explained the proper way to do this, you know, because I thought to myself, like, what would I do? Someone's like shoving a pen in my face and being like, sell this to me. There's a whole audience around here. Yeah, what would I actually do to sell this pen? And then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, it would actually be much better for me to just show the audience what I would do. So then I needed to create a boss character. You see now this is the first appearance of Boss Bogue. Originally, I had him written as a stoner character. He was supposed to be a Mark Zuckerberg type. And he was just like high and didn't remember who I was. And then he's like, oh, yeah, just, I don't know, sell me this pen. But yeah, I went out here. I did the Wolf of Wall Street bit because I knew sales bosses watched that. I knew it was a very popular movie in sales. I knew that's where I wanted to be training people. And I went viral. It went crazy on TikTok. It was the first time I've ever had anything just blowing up my phone every minute of the day. And yeah, it taught me, okay, there is something I need to lean more into that entertainment, because that's what I had my training in. And yeah, let's jump to the beginning of this sketch here. So I want to show a couple things that I did. So I'm always working on the element of surprise. You see, I had a fuller beard at this time. So anyway, I always start with cop cliches. I always liked, I thought having a boss that was very rough around the edges is funny. Because here you can even see, you know, I've got these big blue eyes. I'm kind of innocent looking. So it's fun to play against my type. Sell me this pen right here. Oh, wait, I got to share my screen again. Okay. Okay, so if you ever watch Saturday Night Live, one of the things they have their writers do when they bring in a celebrity guest is the writers have to pitch two kinds of scripts. One where they are playing into that person's type and one where they're playing against the type. Nobody would ever cast me as this character. I would not get cast as Jordan Belfort in any version of The Wolf of Wall Street ever. So I was really surprised when this went viral, but actually, yeah, jumping into this role where I'm playing this much cruder, much more impatient version of myself, I found that this was like really appealing to my audience. So let's start it again. Here we go. Pen right here. You think you can sell anything? Show me how it's done. Sell you this pen, huh? Why don't you do me a favor? Write your name down on this Post-it for me. You've seen The Wolf of Wall Street already. Okay, so you can tell. So this is TikTok. I get right into the action. I should maybe not have that face on here. That looks kind of strange. Yeah, so I jump right into the action, right? Instead of explaining to the audience what they're about to see, the first thing you see is just me shoving a pen into the camera and say, sell this to me. And, you know, if you've ever seen The Wolf of Wall Street, I start with the original solution from the movie. So in the movie, it's a napkin. He says, write your name on a napkin for me. And that's how he sells the pen. I chose a Post-it. It's my little spin on it. And, you know, I'm playing with the element of surprise here, right? Because you think I'm going to do it the same way as the movie. All of a sudden you see, okay, that doesn't work. What happens next? Boss, can I ask you a question? When was the last time you bought a pen? No idea. Well, where'd you get these two from? My assistant buys them in bulk, Bogue. Where are you going with this? Respectfully, I can't help but notice you already own two of the same pen, which leads me to wonder, what were you hoping to get out of talking with me today? You're out of line, Bogue. Okay, so the dialogue here is obviously very ridiculous, but what I wanted to have happen was I needed to show people that I'm knowing what I'm talking about, right? I need to show people that I understand sales. And any sales leader who watches this knows exactly what I'm doing here, right? If you have to sell something to somebody, what you have to do is you need to ask them questions. And, you know, if you ask the right questions, they might reveal that they have a need. You might be able to build some sort of desire for what you're selling. But you can't just sell to somebody cold. You actually have to understand them a little bit. So I'm taking this here to just kind of show how I would navigate a call, the types of questions I ask. And as a seller, yeah, I rely on questions of numbers. I rely on open-ended questions. And if my task is to sell a pen to somebody, first I need to understand what made them buy a pen before, what do they use pens for, and why would they want a pen now? No, you're out of line. This whole thought experiment is out of line. I would never sell you a pen that I wouldn't use myself. Ever see one of these babies? Ooh, Mr. Fancy Pen. Pilot V5, the only pen I use. Do me a favor. Write your name down on a Post-it for me. Okay, so here I am actually doing, I pretty much just did my spin on what the movie did. But once you ask some questions to illuminate the reason why somebody might need a pen, you know, in this case, I had to discover, okay, this guy's not comfortable with his pens. He's you know, he's buying pens that he's unsatisfied with. And, you know, now that I have his attention, I get him using the pen. Now I'm in a great place to make a sale. Dennis, Deb, I see you in the audience there. Yeah, Dennis, I just posted about that question. What are you hoping to get out of this today? I ask that in every sales call because you can't do sales unless you understand what the other person wants. Julie, hello. Julie, I love your live show. And Deb, you're right. I am going to be on your live show next week, and it's going to be cool. For those of you just joining us, we're breaking down my Wolf of Wall Street Sell Me This Pen sketch, which is the first thing I ever had that went viral that really kind of changed the trajectory of my business. But here I'm about to get the sale. $1. It's a little steep. The price is the price. $1. Take it or leave it. All right, you got a deal. You're a hell of a salesman, Bogue. But I always wish you were just a little bit better. Thanks for the feedback, boss. Okay, so yeah, I put this out there. I had no idea this character was going to come back. I really just needed it for the one sketch. But what happened was, one, I learned that I can go viral on TikTok. I learned, oh, okay, I've got something here where, you know, if you do it once, you can do it again. And yeah, I'm actually able to satirize a lot with that boss character. I'm able to satirize every boss that I've ever had. I'm able to satirize my audience. I'm able to satirize trends in corporate America. And yeah, he just kind of stuck around now. The more I pulled my audience, the more they revealed I like the sketch characters. So now I use sketch characters. So that was the first appearance of the boss. Let's check out another appearance, right? So, okay, so we're going to break down the program I did with Will Aitken recently. So Will Aitken, if you guys know, he works at SalesFeed. He does funny videos for TikTok and for LinkedIn, for Vidyard's media company, SalesFeed. And I had him on my show. So this was Will Aitken's teaser trailer for Oops, the episode we did about making mistakes on video. Hey there, everybody. It's Chris Bogue. I can't wait to have so much fun with you this week.
Bogue, get the into my office right now.
Hey, Will Aitken. Is everything okay?
Cut the You've been doing this for a whole year. You haven't submitted a single video to SalesFeed, and you haven't closed a single sale for Vidyard. What are you doing, man?
I can explain.
You sack of wilted shit. You dirty You slimy little slug. I'm gonna break your dog in half.
No, not biscuit.
Give me one good reason I should pay you another dime, you filthy, bearded.
Well, I don't work for SalesFeed or Vidyard.
I'm pretty sure you do. Where's your British accent?
You're thinking of Chris Van Prague. He works at Vidyard. He's more British than I am.
No. Your name's Chris, and you talk about Vidyard all the time.
I'm just a guy who makes funny videos, who runs his own business, that thinks Vidyard is super cool.
Well, oops. Can I be on your show this week?
Sure. Look, we all make mistakes. Maybe you made a video that was awkward or rambling or openly threatening my life. The best way to bounce back is to make a new video that's better. Will Aitken is a master of video content at SalesFeed, and he's joining me on LinkedIn Live at 3 p.m. Central for a conversation where we'll be discussing our biggest mistakes on video and how you can avoid them.
I'll see you all there. Don't miss it. I'm going to break your dog in half. I'm going to whack. I don't think I can say this about a dog, mate. I just can't. See, what else can I say? You dried up little earthworm piece of penis.
Okay. So, lot going on here. I want to talk a lot about this. Oh, Brittany, you know what? Brittany, that's actually a great point. So I actually did sell that pen for too cheap. You know, if I actually had to do that today, I would charge $2 for it at least, because that's originally what the pen bought me. It's funny that I made this video, the Sell Me This Pen video, when I was starting my business, when I was much more desperate for business. So I just wanted to sell it for whatever cost. Yeah, I would probably try to charge $2 for that today. But I want to talk a little bit about what's happening here with Will Aitken. So I do this show every week, and part of what I've done to promote it is when I have a guest on, I invite the guest to be in a comedy sketch with me. I write these sketches beforehand. They're very simple. Usually only my guest only has, 3 or 4 lines at most. And they're designed for them all to be able to just talk straight into the camera. And, you know, my guests are usually not professional comedians. So it's always interesting to see like what they're going to do with it. And, you know, I wrote this part for Will for a couple reasons. One, there is just, it was an actual problem for me in my business is that people didn't realize I was my own business owner. People didn't realize I was like doing my own thing. They thought I was a Vidyard employee. And it's because I do a lot of events with Vidyard. I'm a Vidyard corporate partner. I recommend Vidyard to my clients, and I make content about how people could make Vidyard better. But this led to this misconception where people thought I was a Vidyard employee. So I knew I wanted to have Will on the show. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Why don't we do a bit about how everyone thinks I'm a Vidyard rep? And, you know, we can have it. You can pull me in and you can be really giving me the business. And then we'll have the joke be that I don't actually work at Vidyard. And yeah, you know, I want to like start at the beginning here again, and let's talk a little bit about some of these comic decisions that we're making, right? So let's just start.
Hey there, everybody. It's Chris Bogue. I can't wait to have so much fun with you this week. Bogue, get the f*** into my office right now. Hey, Will Aiken. Is everything okay?
Okay, so lot going on here in the beginning. So Will Aitken is a very similar comic player as me, right? He's got a very like approachable kind of energy about him. He has like kind of a goofy, nerdy vibe about him. He's got very soft blue eyes, right? So in this situation, he is playing the big, loud, overbearing boss character that nobody would ever cast Will Aitken in. Like, I'm sorry, Will, if you're watching this at home, you're an absolute sweetheart. No one is going to cast you as the boss who's screaming obscenities, which is why it's funny to watch him play the part. I put Will in this situation, and him and some of the Vidyard guys read the script, and they're like, oh man, this is really vulgar. And I'm like, no, it's going to be funny because I'm going to be reacting to it. And everything's going to be bleeped. So it's not going to hit the audience as hard as it is reading on the page. But yeah, I love these scenes. Whenever a boss starts out a scene by being like, get the fuck into my office right now, I think that's so funny. And whenever I was doing comedy, I discovered that was funny too. Audiences love that. So this original line, I'm going to start from the beginning again. And you're going to see my original line was not in the script. Let's see here. Okay, so I saw Will's footage. Will Aitken sends me the footage. I watch it, and it's so funny that I added this line in here because the joke is that he's cutting me down. You're going to see I react. Half of this bit is about my reacting with such hurt and fear. But I realized, oh, if I start up here and he gives that line and he pulls me down, that's even funnier. So I added this line. It's totally stupid. I just say, hey, everybody, it's Chris Bogue. I can't wait to have so much fun with you. But it makes it so much funnier when he knocks me down. So let's watch this again.
Hey there, everybody. It's Chris Bogue. I can't wait to have so much fun with you this week. Bogue, get the f*** into my office right now. Hey, Will Aiken. Is everything okay? Cut the f***ing... You've been doing this for a whole year. You haven't submitted a single video to SalesFeed, and you haven't closed a single sale for Vidyard. What are you doing, man? I can explain. You sack of wilted shit. You dirty You slimy little slug. I'm gonna break your dog in half. No, not Biscuit.
Okay. So yeah. Yeah, this is a really intense scene. So you have to throw in, like, you got to let them know throughout that, like, this is a joke, right? And me just suddenly clutching my dog, you can tell that I'm playing along, you know, and I'm really glad Will agreed to do this bit because it takes a little bit of trust. And, you know, I had to tell him that, like, hey, I know this is like for your job and you are saying incredibly vulgar things. The audience is going to get it. They're going to understand that this is a joke, right? I was very careful. I wanted to make sure that they understood that. So Cynthia, hello. Yeah, Biscuit. This is another thing I've learned is that putting my dog in danger is funny. I think it's funny. It's the easiest way to get a reaction out of my audience. And, you know, the audience knows she's safe. They can see her there. Nothing bad is going to happen to her. It's just a joke. Let's keep watching.
Give me one good reason I should pay you another dime, you filthy, bearded. Well,
So I cut it there. So he actually there, that word that's bleeped, he called me a peasant. It doesn't sound like he said peasant. It sounds like he says a different swear word that ends on a hard T. But yeah, just this moment where he's just completely broken me. And then I softly explain to the audience that I'm not a Vidyard employee. And then he just like doesn't apologize.
I don't work for Sales Feed or Vidyard. I'm pretty sure you do. Where's your British accent? You're thinking of Chris Van Prague. He works at Vidyard. He's more British than I am. No. Your name's Chris, and you talk about Vidyard all the time. I'm just a guy who makes funny videos, who runs his own business, that thinks Vidyard is super cool. Well, oops. Can I be on your show this week? Sure.
Okay. So, yeah, I always try to have a theme. And Will and I, we decided that the best way to go was just talk about mistakes. Part of being a content creator, part of being an entrepreneur, part of being a salesperson, part of being a human being means you are going to make mistakes. So we wanted to do an episode where we go out there and we own it. And yeah, this whole theme that we were able to get into. And I found it's very easy to promote events when you have a theme every week. But it's like, hey, let's just embrace the act of screwing up. Let's do a sketch where we screw up badly and it's okay. And you know, that's a reassuring thing for my audience. A lot of my audience is dealing with, you know, how to get on video, how to overcome their fears. And this is just an easy way to do that. So, and then at the end here, we switch to a different energy for Will.
Look, we all make mistakes. Maybe you made a video that was awkward or rambling or openly threatening my life. The best way to bounce back is to make a new video that's better. Will Aitken is a master of video content at SalesFeed, and he's joining me on LinkedIn Live at 3 p.m. Central for a conversation where we'll be discussing our biggest mistakes on video and how you can avoid them. I'll see you all there. Don't miss it.
Okay, so I call this the Little Shop of Horror rule, or Little Shop of Horrors. Anyone in the comments, has anybody seen the movie or the play, The Little Shop of Horrors? Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory here. So The Little Shop of Horrors is one of my favorite musicals of all time. It is about a plant from outer space that eats human beings. And it starts off in a little flower shop. In the play, it's a series of puppets, and the plant is getting larger and larger throughout the show. By the end of the show, there are 2 people operating the plant. And the movie, Little Shop of Horrors, has a completely different ending than the play, Little Shop of Horrors. So the play, the musical, Little Shop of Horrors, ends with everybody dying. The plant eats literally every single person on Earth. Yes, Rick Moranis, Cynthia, he was Seymour in the movie version. So what happened was the musical came out first. It ends with the plant eating everybody. Everybody loves it. It's a huge hit. They adapted into a movie with Rick Moranis and Steve Martin and, you know, a bunch of these amazing actors. And they test the ending with audiences, and audiences hated it. Hated it. The plant eats everybody just like she did, Audrey too, in the musical, but audiences were horrified. And what they figured out was they needed to change the ending. The movie changes. The plant doesn't actually kill them in the movie. They defeat the plant because movies don't have a curtain call the way that a play does. You can end the live version of Little Shop of Horrors with everybody getting eaten by the plant, because what happens then is the puppeteer takes off the plant costume, and Audrey and Seymour and everybody hold hands and they do a bow together, and the audience can feel good because you see the actors, you know, you get some validation that this isn't real. Everybody's just playing, everybody's fine, everybody's gonna live happily ever after. And yeah, that's what I needed to do here too. So I like Will Aitken. I always want these shows to be great for me and my guest. Maybe my audience doesn't know who Will Aitken is yet. I don't want them thinking that he's some big jerk who says vulgar things about killing my dog. So I give him this line here at the end. He's the one who's like, hey, don't miss it, you know, be there. And then I wanted to give him a blooper reel at the end so the audience could see this is not actually the way he likes to talk.
I'm going to break your dog in half. I'm going to whack. I don't think I can say it's about a dog, mate. I just can't. See, what else can I say? You dried up little earthworm piece of penis.
I was cracking up watching this because this is Will's genuine energy, right? You see the gentleness come through. You see those eyes where he's reading this horrible thing that he's going to do to my dog. And he's like, mate, I don't think I could do this. And it's so funny watching him struggle with the humanity of that. And I'm like, okay, that is too, I gotta throw it in there. Not only does it soften Will up at the end and make the audience think, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna like this guy. I think this guy is probably the kind of guy I'd want to hang out with. But that's just funny, you know? And that's what I've learned about me as a comic actor. Watching me struggle, watching me feel insecure, watching me react to things with discomfort. That is actually an avenue for comedy that is rich for me to explore because I've got these big eyes, and so does Will. So you can check out that episode. This is probably a good time to mention, if you ever want to listen to an episode of one of my past podcasts, they're all fantastic. I have fantastic guests on all of them. Will Aitken, I have guests. We talk about entrepreneurship. We talk about creating content. We talk about writing. We talk about improv comedy and sketch. My show is Chris Sells His Soul. You can always follow my updates on LinkedIn by ringing my bell. But if you want to go to any major podcast app, you can find my episodes. So I'm on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you could think of. The episodes, I edit them so they're shorter and they're quicker than my video episodes. But yeah, you can go get into that. And let's take another look here at one of my past instances. So actually what I want to do here, so this is an episode that I did with Todd Clouser. So I really love this. This is the first time I ever did Gimme Gimme on one of my podcast episodes. And anyone in the audience who's never seen my show before, when I have a guest, I do a segment called Gimme Gimme, where I pop into character. They can pop into character too if they want. But the whole idea was, again, you got to imagine, I'm a man who's running my own business, right? So I'm selling training, I'm selling coaching, I'm selling my consulting services. And I discover that all these people love my characters, right? And if I go out there in character, they're actually more likely to listen than if I go out there and just tell them how to work. And then I had Todd Clouser. I saw Todd Clouser. If anybody does not know Todd, Todd works for Refine Labs. He's very funny. He's very knowledgeable about content marketing. He did YouTube for a long time. So he has a real YouTuber's mindset. He gets very in with his audience. He likes to interact with his audience and find ways to meet with his audience and find different ways to bring value to what they're doing. But most importantly, Todd has a character named Ya Boy Tucker, who's a douchebag. He's an influencer. He's really shitty, and it's really funny. And he got hired at Refine Labs. Refine Labs is doing very interesting work with demand generation and content. And I was like, oh yeah, will you be on the show? So Todd said yes. And then I got the idea. I'm like, dude, we got to get into character. You know, we should just jump into character, do some like improv back and forth, and let's just sell ourselves. You know, it's going to be so much easier to pitch these corporate bosses if they tune into my show and they hear a sales pitch every week. So this is the first time we ever did this. We were kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. But yeah, this was the first ever segment of Gimme Gimme with Todd Clouser. So this is going to be a new segment every week where my guest and I shamelessly promote our services and tell the audience exactly what we want. So just give me a moment here. Get into costume. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna say right off the bat here, I didn't like. I'm still kind of toying around with how much time should I spend getting into costume. You'll see, like here, like if you look at my shirt, like where's that around? Here, I've like I've tied my tie incorrectly. It's actually kind of hard to get into costume while you're locking eyes with the camera and speaking. Um, but yeah, I actually discovered I really liked the physical transformation here. I thought it was fun to actually put on another character, and I love Todd and I didn't really practice this, but it syncs up perfectly where I'm flipping around in the chair and he's putting on the headphones at the same time. I just watched that. I'm like, I really like that effect. So yeah, so let's get into it. So now me and Todd are in character. We are Boss Bogue and your boy Tucker.
Welcome to Gimme Gimme, the new segment where I tell you to give me money. Please welcome our guest, your boy Tucker. Tucker, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Stupendous, stupendous. How have you been lately? You look wonderful.
Honestly, boss, I'm not doing that great. I did this podcast last week, and I'm still kind of about it, man.
Okay, so a couple things here. One, we had to figure out how we want to do this bit. You're actually going to see here, I'll point out some of the mistakes here. Me and Todd both make mistakes. We call each other the wrong character name. He called me Chris initially, and then he switched it. He goes, honestly, boss, I'm not going to lie. But you'll notice here, part of improv is you just ignore the mistakes, right? So he called me Chris, then he called me boss. And now he's talking about a bit that he was already doing. So he was doing a bit at the time. He had just done a podcast with Panda Doc, and Travis Tyler is Panda Doc's content guy. And, they did a bit where he brought your boy Tucker on, and Todd as Tucker made all these demands. One of them being that he would get, I'll just let you just watch the bit and I'll tell you how it went.
I'm not going to lie.
What happened? Who was it?
It was, I was working with this guy named Travis over at Panda Doc, and it was amateur hour.
Don't even get me started on Panda Doc. Did they remember to take the yellow M&Ms out of the candy dish?
You're not going to freaking believe this. I'm a freaking influencer. I don't ask for money. All I ask for is equal parts red M&Ms and blue M&Ms. The second I go in there, sitting right on the freaking top, yellow M&M. Complete shit.
He's going to get what's coming to him. Don't even.
Okay. So this was a segment they had done. They had done this bit. Todd went on to the podcast as your boy Tucker. They had a whole video bit about how he got served a single yellow M&M and just stormed out in a fury. And I thought that was really funny. And Todd was like, oh yeah, we can find something stupid for Tucker to do. And then Boss Bogue can kick him out. And I said, well, I come from a school of improv where it's very funny to watch people work in teams. And my character is something of an obnoxious influencer too. So what do you think would happen if they were on the same side? And instead we came up with this idea where instead of me looking at that situation being like, oh, Tucker, what an asshole. I think Panda Doc is the asshole. You're going to see here, I am on Tucker's side.
Get me started on Travis Tyler. Go check out my videos about Panda Doc. I've said some words about them. But you are an influencer, and you deserve to get paid. And that's why I'm here promoting ChristopherBogue.com, because there seems to be an imbalance here on LinkedIn. You're all business people. You see me out here getting the laughs. You see Todd out here getting the laughs every day, and yet you're not paying us money. Something about this doesn't add up. So let me clarify it for anybody at home who doesn't understand. I want your money. I want your money. I want your money now. Pay me for comedy. Pay me to train your team. Pay me to write funny things for you. You can pay me to do all sorts of things, but that is why I'm here on LinkedIn. Is that not right, your boy Tucker?
You're damn right that's right. And I'll tell you.
Okay, so this damn bit, I can't believe I get away with this. But really, I looked at this and I had to look at my opportunity. And anybody who follows my content knows I believe that people should treat their brands like a 24-hour media network. And it dawned on me, okay, so I have a weekly show. Every week people tune in who might possibly hire me. Why don't I do commercials? You know, if I went out there and paid for a LinkedIn ad, that would cost me thousands of dollars, you know. It would be expensive if I had to run ads on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. But if I go out there on my live stream and pitch my own services, I could just make my own commercial. And then every time anybody goes back and listens to the episode, they're going to listen to another commercial here. So yeah, I discovered I can just scream at the audience to give me money. And that's fine because I'm doing it in a way that's entertaining. So that's why I do it. And that's why I'm always plugging myself. I found a way to pitch myself without pissing people off.
What? If you're going, I work for one of these badass, marketing firms for Fine Labs. I'm telling you what, if you go and you request a consult, you better be saying my name. Yeah. Because I swear. Yeah. There may be a big fat check in that for me. And if you don't do that, I'm an influencer, so I sell stickers. Yeah, there will be hell to pay, right? And you'll buy a sticker if you don't give him the referral. But he could really use the referral, It's not easy out here being an influencer, right? You see these guys, you see your boy Tucker, you see me, you see Corporate Bro. Have you guys heard about Corporate Bro? Boy, that guy's a piece of work.
Okay, so this is another thing I do that is purely for self-promotion. But you will notice this, whether I am doing sketches on my show, if you've ever heard me on another live stream, I name drop people all the time. I name drop other content creators, I name drop companies, I name drop influencers. I always name drop other people, and I usually don't tell them about it. Because what I want them to do is I actually want people talking about me because I'm a business owner and I need to generate public relations. I need to generate hype. So I decided to take a shot at Corporate Bro right here because Ross Pomerantz, he's a connection of mine. He's funny. We interact with each other's comments sometimes. And, I was talking with Todd about it before the show and I was like, oh yeah, maybe we should make fun of Corporate Bro. And he's like, honestly, he'd probably think that was hilarious. Cause he's a shit talker. He loves roasting people. He loves giving people the business. That's his whole brand. He is, if anybody doesn't know Corporate Bro or Ross Pomerantz, he is a very, I would call it like a very, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia kind of style, where it's almost like daring you not to watch it. He has a series called Unsubscribe. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and just make fun of Corporate Bro and just see how that goes.
Hell yeah. I like him though. Don't get me wrong. I love Corporate Bro. Somehow he manages to be even more personally off-putting than your boy Tucker. And that's really saying something. But it's all an act. It's all an act, folks. Let me tell you. Corporate Bro, he acts like a big shot. You want to know what he does after he wraps up one of his Zoom meetings where he busts your balls? He puts on his shorts and he washes your car. That's what he does. He washes my car. He washes your boy's Tucker car, your boy Tucker's car. And yeah, you want to hire Corporate Bro to come in there and hurt your marketing team's feelings and send them to therapy. I got news for you. You got the money to hire Chris Bogue to make delightful marketing content with you or train your team on sales to make vidyards that aren't garbage. Tucker, what else you got to offer? I mean, like I said, I sell stickers. Yeah, you sell stickers. That's right.
Okay. So, yeah. Has anybody watched that clip and sent it to Corporate Bro or anyone at Bravado? I don't know. But maybe they did. Or maybe they will a couple months from now. Somebody watches an old episode or listens to an old episode. But if people like sales comedy where the guy says fuck a lot, that's what he does. And that's what I do. And yeah, I will always do this. You hear, I name drop Panda Doc. I name drop Corporate Bro. In the Will Aitken video, I was name dropping Chris Van Prague. He's a big TikTok personality for Vidyard. I mention these things because I know we're all chasing the same engagement. They like it when other people are talking about them. Companies want people talking about them and organically spreading their name around in dark social. So I talk some shit. And, nobody's gotten upset with me yet. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And let's jump in here. So, okay, let's do this one. So This was another live stream that I did with Joe Janes. So Joe Janes was my old Second City teacher. He was like the first teacher that really believed in me. I worked with a lot of teachers growing up who just didn't get me. They didn't really know how to coach me. They didn't really know, like, they didn't really understand comedy at the like fundamental level where I really looked at it like something I wanted to understand. But you know, I went to the Second City and I met Joe Janes. So Joe, he used to write for SNL. He wrote for Weekend Update. He won an Emmy, and he's been teaching improv and sketch comedy for a long time. I wanted to have him back on the show. And one thing I'm doing with my job is I'm trying to get people to hire improvisers. So, you know, I'm a sales consultant, and I also coach improv. Excuse me. I also teach content creation. But I also tell people, if you want to work with an improviser for 90 minutes on Zoom, like if you hire an improviser to play Whose Line Is It Anyway games with you and your family or whatever on Zoom for 90 minutes and pay them $100, you'll have a great time. And so will they. And there are improvisers all over the city of Chicago who have just as much training as me, if not more. They are fantastic. They are talented people. They've been running classes. They've been doing shows for a long time, and they'd be happy to train you. So I said, okay, why don't I bring in my Second City teacher, and we'll just do an intro improv class. We'll teach my audience the improv and sketch basics. So here was our little sketch.
Hello! Now that we're finished building rapport, come to my LinkedIn Live this Thursday at 3 p.m.
Oh, what the f*** are you doing giving away comedy for free?
Emmy award-winning writer and comedian Joe Janes.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Okay, so I love Joe. I just have so much fondness for this man because he was just there for me. And yeah, it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm bringing in Joe. He's a sketch comedian. I'll have him be my boss's boss. And I was very happy with his read. He's a professional, so, you know, he gave me everything. It was a super concise video file. It was just like 3 takes of each line. But yeah, part of the fun of doing these from home, and I've started to notice other people doing this too, is you can totally shoot these trailers. If you ask somebody for a little video clip, they could record that in 2 minutes. As you can see here, I get a lot of mileage out of them.
I can explain, boss.
I didn't become a professor at hoo-hoo-ha-ha comedy school just so alumni could give away the keys to the kingdom.
No, you got it all wrong. What you got to do, see, is you got to give them the content for free. And then when they're laughing, you hit them with the old smile and die.
Okay, so this is another thing, and you're going to see I have a new character that's going to be coming out soon that I think you're going to like. Old-timey stuff is just funny. Part of the reason why people love The Simpsons is because there's a lot of characters who just speak in this weird old-timey language. So you see here, I can do things with the boss where I play with different cliches. Sometimes he's yelling at me like a cop cliche. This is me going, what you got to do here? See, you got to do this. So again, old-timiness always gets a laugh from me. So we'll jump back here.
Keys to the kingdom.
No, you got it all wrong. What you got to do, see, is you got to give them the content for free. And then when they're laughing, you hit them with the old smile and die.
Do you at least make them progress through 6 levels of training?
Nah, but the corporate package starts at $15,000.
Attaboy.
The work from home economy is great for writers, but only if you're writing consistently. Join me on LinkedIn Live this week at Thursday at 3 p.m. for a conversation with the man who taught me how to do improv at the Second City. We're going to be giving you tips for building a daily writing habit and simple comedy tips for people of all skills. That's Thursday at 3 p.m.
Bring a pen.
Yeah, so loved doing this episode. Strongly recommend if anybody wants to learn how to do improv, go back and listen to that episode. But yeah, these are the rules that I'm following for business. And I always tell people the reason why I am making different moves than the rest of LinkedIn, the reason why I'm out here having so much fun while, people are grinding themselves into depression, making cold calls, is I'm following the yes and principle. That is what improv is all about. It's just figure out what's the last thing somebody said to you? Okay, how can you take that and play with it? How can you find the reality in that? How can you quickly establish a relationship with the other person and move it forward? So yeah, that's fun. I'm actually going to end here on this last one. I'm going to show you another example. So last week we got into my Ukraine episode where I used Vageman to give my commentary on what was happening with Ukraine, push my audience towards Doctors Without Borders and donating to some organizations that can help, and also make a point about what was going on in the world. So this is an appearance from the boss where he's not really being funny. This was my Black History Month video with the boss. And I want to talk a little bit about some of what's going on here.
Hey there, folks. Boss Bogue here, wishing a happy Black History Month to all you corporate executives who haven't gotten canceled yet. Good job. That was a great post you made about Dr. King. He did say that one line in that one speech, that one time. Thanks for sharing with us. I don't notice a lot of creator challenges on LinkedIn about posting 28 quotes from Dr. King in 28 days. That might get a little uncomfortable for folks like me who wear suits and are just trying to make a buck.
Okay, so that's a pretty confrontational opening, right? I had to think about what I wanted to say, and it's this weird thing where, like, I never had a platform before. I never had people listening to me. People think now they'll see me because I make videos all the time, so I'm just omnipresent on LinkedIn. People think that means that, like, I am like this like super rich and famous person. I'm just a regular person, but my following has been growing, and it was Black History Month, and I knew I wanted to call attention to tokenism because that's something I've seen throughout corporate America. There are a lot of companies that have goals around diversity, and they fall short of those goals. And what they do is they rely on someone in the organization who is not white, and they treat that person like a piece of stock footage. So that person doesn't get paid a lot. That person doesn't get a lot of job responsibilities. But whenever a camera shows up, well, you'll hear the rest of the bit.
Now, I don't want to assume that you don't have anything planned for Black History Month. I'm sure you're celebrating your wonderful Black employees every single day. But just in case you're not, I got an idea for you, okay? So visualize a Black person in your head, right? This Black person works for you. They don't have a very important job title, and you don't pay them very much money. However, whenever a camera shows up, you got them front and center, right? And you got them all over your diversity page. You know why you do that, okay? And so do they. That's valuable. They are your on-camera talent.
Okay, so I don't usually call out my audience like this, and even then, I'm doing a couple things here to soften the blow, right? Because I'm talking about a serious subject. I'm talking about racism. I'm talking about racial discrimination. But I'm taking a little bit of the blame myself. You notice earlier in the sketch, I said, hey, if you're a person like me who wears suits, you're probably not doing 28 days of Martin Luther King Jr. quotes. It's because he had a lot of critical things to say about capitalism and about white moderates and about people who just go to work and try to avoid these issues, So I knew I didn't want to make my audience feel good about themselves, especially if they're a person there who's underpaying their Black employees. But what I wanted to do was, one, let them know, hey, your employees know what you're doing, right? When you have a Black person and you only call on them to come to the front of, the presentation or whatever, when there's a photographer taking pictures, they know exactly what you're doing. So I wanted to give them an option for what they could do if they felt bad about that.
So if you're not doing anything this month for Black History Month, I suggest giving that person a fucking raise for the credibility that they are lending to your organization. But maybe you don't want to do that, right? I'm a business person. I understand you pay people the money that they ask for. So if it's a bridge too far to pay that person, why don't you pay them a conversation? Right? And I'm not talking about explain how I'm going to fix racism in this company, right? I'm talking about a conversation like, how's your morning going? How are your kids? How are your dog? Stop thinking about diversity as a problem that needs to be fixed and start thinking about it as a relationship that needs to be built.
All right. So again, not usually what I do here, right? That it's a little bit more visceral, a little bit more serious than what my audience is used to. But it got noticed. It got me noticed. And I got a lot of DMs from that one. I got shares from that one. That was an example of a video that didn't go viral, but I didn't care because sometimes you have the point you want to say. Sometimes you need to say something, even if it's not the funniest thing ever, or even if it's not the most viral thing ever. And just make sure whatever it is, you believe in it. And we're going to be talking next week. My guest is Carl Sean Watkins. We're going to be talking about masculinity and vulnerability and diversity and racism and being okay with yourself. And it's going to be funny. We're going to find a way to do it that's fun. Stay tuned for our promo sketch. I think you're going to love it. Once again, thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Chris Bogue. This has been another episode of Chris Sells His Soul. And if you'd like to listen to other episodes, please check me out. I'm on most major podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Stitcher. And you can check me out here every week at 3 p.m. live on LinkedIn Live, or you can ring my bell to follow me for fresh content every day. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.